Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. We are going to work on our sweet potatoes today. It's time for us to get them in the ground. Well, finally the weather has warmed up. It has stayed warm for a while. My soil temperature is above 60 degrees consistently, and it's time for us to plant our sweet potato slips. I live in Southwest Ohio. I live in zone 6B. It's taken forever for us to get to this point. It feels like this year, but we're finally here. And of course, I picked the most humid morning that we've had this year that I can recall. But we're finally going to get our sweet potato slips in the ground. And y'all, I got regular white potatoes growing over there as well, but we're going to get those out. In order to get the sweet potatoes in the ground, there were a few things that I had to do first. And one of the things that I needed to do first was create my sweet potato slips. So all of these beautiful slips right here, you can go to a seed company or a garden store, garden center or whatever, and you can buy these and they can be upwards of like $25 for like 10 slips or something crazy like that. You can get them from the big box store, and again, you're going to pay $5, $6, $7, $8 for just, a half dozen slips. Or you can do it yourself. And that's what I did on all of my sweet potato slips. I started them inside, I put them in dirt. I tell you what, just watch this video right here, and it'll talk to you about the process that I used before we got to this point. It's time to start preparing my sweet potato slips so I can get them outside. My slips are right here, and I've been growing them in soil for the last couple of months. Actually, I believe it's been that long. So now we're going to cut them away and put them in water so we can root them. You can cut them away. Sometimes you can just pull them right off. Let's see if I can pull it. I can't. So we're going to cut it away. Now that I've cut it away, I'm going to remove the bottom leaves. So the bottom leaves are gone, but maybe you can see this. It's already trying. Let's get it right here. There we go. It's already starting to root right there, but it's going to root all along the stem in multiple places. So I've put it in this vase here, and I'm going to keep fresh water in it, and that's the process. So those are all of my sweet potato vines. I have 3 different jars because I have different length plants or slips. I put the real long slips in this one, medium size, and then the really small slips. Some of them already have a few roots on them, but I need them to root very well. So let's 4, 5, that's 6 plants in there, 5 in that one, and it looks like 6 in that one. So I'm just under 20 plants. I still have more slips that I can pull off. I'm just going to try to let them get just a little larger. So that'll be my backup supply if this goes wrong in any way. And the good thing is, by having 3 different containers, if one container fails, I have slips in other containers. So we're going to get water in. I'm going to keep the water in here and keep them nice and fresh. And hopefully in about 7 days or less, we will be moving these outside into the garden. All right, so here's where we ended up. You see there's still more sprouts coming in off of the sweet potatoes. I did add a few to the jars during the week, so we have plenty of sweet potato slips to put out today, and we have backups if we need them. Now it's time for us to put this into the bed, and we're going to do this in a couple different ways this year. And honestly, it's no different than we've done the last 2 years. I'm going to put them in my metal raised bed. This is a 17-inch deep metal raised bed. Now, there's logs and twigs and all kinds of other stuff in the bottom. And then we're going to use a fabric bag. We're going to use this one right here. I think it's 25 gallon. Let's see. Let's see if I can find out what it is. Yes, this is a 25 gallon fabric bag. And we're also going to do a couple pots. And this year I'm going to do my pots a little different, plastic pots. I have, I think, 2 7-gallon pots over here. One of the pots, I'm going to kind of raise it up around the sides so that the drainage holes are in the mulch itself. So I think it'll provide it a little more moisture. Not that sweet potatoes need a lot. And then I'm going to have another, oh, and that one of these pots is going to be tall and slim. The other one's going to be kind of short and wide. That's going to be the 3 different methods. Plastic pots, 2 different ways with the plastic pots, the fabric bag, and then the metal raised bed. The metal raised bed did amazing last year. Every year I've been increasing the number of sweet potatoes that I've been able to harvest. So every year we've done better and better. So that's a good thing. And I believe we're going to have a great crop this year as well. I am growing 2 different types of sweet potato, actually 3 types of sweet potatoes, I believe. And all my slips are mixed together, so I'm not going to be able to tell you which is which until we harvest the potatoes themselves. But we will be doing Covington, which, by the way, is my favorite sweet potato. So we're going to do Covington, which is more long, a slimmer potato compared to the Beauregard, which we're also doing. Beauregards can get kind of massive, right? And I call them lunkers. Somebody tried to correct me last year and said they're not called lunkers. Well, that's the way I call them, lunkers. They can get huge, they can get massive, and actually sometimes too big to really use properly. I mean, one can be a meal by itself. And then the third variety, which I grew for the first time last year, is the Japanese variety. It's right here. This variety it's a little more starchy. I don't know how to explain it, but it's purple on the outside, white on the inside. It had an amazing taste, but it did have a few strings in it to me, where Covington, I never had an issue with it being stringy. So that's the 3 varieties. Even though you see drip irrigation, this bed will not be on drip irrigation. None of the areas right here are on drip irrigation. I'm just trying to clean this bed up a little bit. There's a few weeds growing in it. And last year I dumped all of my pots and stuff into my metal raised beds to give it, to fill them up, because the dirt level was dropping. And a lot of it had previously had potatoes in it. So I have potatoes coming up everywhere. And it looks like I have a ground cherry over here as well. But we're going to pull all of that out. We're going to try to anyway, and get this bed planted up. And there are a ton of ants in this bed, which I am going to treat after I get it planted up. I will put a treatment on it. And it's just Toro or something like that. I don't remember what it's called, but I just got it from the big box store for ants. And I'm going to put one of the little stakes in there and let the ants have fun while they decide to leave this home that they've made. And I've been using that all over the whole garden because ants is a big thing this year. And I have multiple types of ants in multiple beds. I got little red ants. I got little black ants. I have huge, massive black ants. So we're going to treat for the ants with whatever the current thing is in the store. Not trying to go organic or anything like that. I just want to get rid of the ants. Because I was able to backfill this bed with soil from pots from last year, I really don't need to add any soil to this bed, but I do have to put soil in all of my pots. So let's do that next. And then we'll talk about how we're going to amend the soil to make sure that it's ready to receive the sweet potato slips. There are many different options of how you can go about filling up your containers. I personally prefer Happy Frog. This bed don't need it, but I'm gonna finish this bag off. All right, we got the soil in all the pots. Now we're gonna add the nutrition. In each of the beds, I am going to add bone meal and some fertilizer. And I normally don't put any fertilizer or anything like that on my sweet potatoes as the season goes on. I just kind of let my sweet potatoes fend for themselves. Bone meal is for below the ground. So any of your root crops usually benefit from bone meal. And bone meal, at least this bone meal that I have here is a, what is it? I read it somewhere. Here it is. It's a 4-12-0. So it has some nitrogen in it as well. It has P for below the ground, and there's nothing for all around. And that's where the general fertilizer helps it out. And I'm not measuring, y'all. You see, I'm just grabbing a handful. All winter long, I added compost to this bed from the kitchen composter because I was too lazy to go all the way out into the garden. So this bed got lots of compost. I would just dump it right in. I'm gonna do the same thing with this bag right here and the pots. All right, y'all, let's get the slips in now. Last year, I put about 25 slips, or excuse me, last year I put 15 slips in this bed right here. And when I harvested and I went back and I looked in my garden journal, it said that I could put my slips closer together. So we are going to put a few more slips in here than we did last year. And you can see these slips have beautiful roots on them. Beautiful, beautiful roots. Except for that one. It looks like I just put that one in there the other day. But it's got a small root on it. But anyway, lots of roots on most of these plants. Is that one or two? That's only one. That's a big one. And again, I don't know which plant is which at this point in time, but we're going to lay them out and see how far they'll go. And then we will add more to this bed as more slips develop indoors if I need them. But let's see what we got first. I think this bed is, I don't forgot the size of this bed. I don't forgot. I know it's 3.5 feet wide, but I feel like it's 5 feet long, but I'm 5 feet tall, and I think I'm taller than that. So whatever it is, I'm not sure right now. I'm gonna go 5. That's why I got 15 last time. I went 3 rows, so I'm gonna do 4 rows. I wanna get 20 slips in here this time. That's my goal. And maybe I'm putting them too close, but that's what we're going for this year. I might not be able to do all these pots, y'all. We'll have to see. All right, that's enough for 20 in this bed. And it leaves me about 3 that I can use elsewhere. So let's get this bed planted first. Since I fertilized the whole bed, I don't have to fertilize the little trench that I'm gonna dig for it. Some people put their sweet potato plants in the ground straight like this and cover up all the roots. I prefer to lay my sweet potato plants on the side like this, and you can see the roots coming off. And each one of these sets of roots could give me a batch or a bunch of sweet potatoes. So I'm going to put mine in like this and then just leave the little leaves out. And I need the leaves to be out because they need to take care of all of that catching of sun rays. So that's the process that we're going to use. So I'm just going to lay it on its side right here. Maybe a little deeper. And I left the little tops out. I'm going to do the same thing right here. Lay it on its side. Cover it up. Leave the little tops out. That's the process I'm going to use in this whole bed. It's similar to how I do my tomato plants because I can't go deep in my beds where my tomato plants are, but I'm doing it for a different reason. And this will be what, the 3rd year that I've done it this way, and it has worked. I don't know why, but it works for me this way. So we don't want to mess up a good thing, right? So let me finish putting these in, and then I'll come back So we grew purple sweet potatoes in this bag last year. This, like I said, a 25-gallon bag. The first year I ever grew sweet potatoes, like 3 years or 4 years ago, where I got a harvest, I used a 100-gallon grow bag. And I pulled out some of the biggest potatoes I've ever seen. And so I got super excited. Now that 100-gallon grow bag is over there because I couldn't pick it up. So it's inside the metal raised bed, and then we built the bed around that bag. That bed has 20 sweet potato plants in it. I only have 3 left until I produce some more. So of these 3, I'm sorry, 4. I said 3, there's 4 in here. There's 4 in here. I am going to put 2 in each of these little pots, and we'll save this one when I get another batch of sweet potatoes. And these aren't the best looking slips. So I'm gonna put a good one in each of them and one that's not so pretty to at least give one of them a chance to live. That looks pretty good. Well, 3 of them look pretty good. This pot is so narrow, it probably can't take 2 sweet potatoes, but we're gonna put 2 in there anyway. And it probably will keep them from getting too big, but you know, hey, it is what it is. And I'm gonna put 2 in this one. I really wanna put 3 in this one, but we'll put 2. I do like smaller sweet potatoes at times, right? To chip up, make yams, that kind of stuff. Fresh eating, right? I don't necessarily need it for a pie or a casserole or anything like that, but that's everything that I have, y'all. I don't have any more to work with, so I ended up with 24. I have 24 sweet potato plants in, and there's a ton more growing indoors, as you saw in the video. So once they get a little bigger, I will sprout them, and I will fill this pot and probably put 1 more in this one, as well as by that time, so we're talking probably another 7 to 10 days. By that time, I'll know if anything didn't take over here, and I can replace it with those plants. But that's it, y'all. The sweet potatoes are in for the season, and we will let them sit here for a minimum, and I do mean a minimum of 120 days. Honestly, I plan to let them grow until the first frost comes, and that's absolutely 120 days from now. It should be anyway. But y'all, they're in. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. Please give me a thumbs up and consider telling your friends and your family all about it. And share the video. Until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you hang out with me, Kim, at Kim's Cozy Corner. Bye.